And so, okay, there's the ascendant, the weak spot, the Venus rulership's in the 12th house. So there's a need to, if you get things and it's not exactly right or you compromise, you suffer with the Venus in the 12th house. So she identifies that. But if she chooses right or spiritual things, this is a very powerful chart spiritually. This is real beauty. This is the real grace. This is the real satisfaction. It pushes her up on a higher level to get appreciation. Well, that's fine in terms of aesthetics, but it's not that comfortable for the moon in Taurus. But the moon in Taurus in the 8th house is always trying to work through it, psychoanalyze, understand the depth of how things are. So she has this deep side, physical side, ethereal side, and this very aesthetic side. And they're both present there. And the physical side can obscure the spiritual side at times, or would fight for that attention. So how do you ever get your world so peaceful they can just sit and reflect and visualize or meditate? Okay, so not the tendency to have mostly what you want, but something's missing. That's the Venus there. It's not exactly perfect. Well, what do you expect? Okay, so a projection, the more refined it is, the better it works, even though it would, the refined projection will work really, will start bringing her the real appreciation. But when it's projected, just I want this, I gotta have this, I gotta wear this, it pulls into the moon and ends up being a little bit more physical or more blatant. So you can see how the moon, tides of the moon and the confusions of the moon can come out as obsessions of eating and going place eating. This is nice, he's eating too much, not eating enough. But taste, she has taste in spades. But it's in the 12th house, you can't trust the taste that much. She has to do without sometimes. Again, that energy fuels a spiritual faith or prayer, but not the physical indulgence. But her Venus is not badly aspect. It's in the 12th. The only difficult aspect, it's not exactly close, it's not so crucial, is that it's conjunct Pluto and this fear of it's not good enough. What I have, I'm not talented enough, I'm not good enough. I won't take my first choice, I better take the second because it's safer. And that's an inner battle until she starts making her first choices or finding some way to bring it into her life against the background of other complications. The midheaven, the career, the status, the authority is in Cancer. Daily is increasing, daily is greater, it's driving to be secure. I need to be secure. I need to have a home. I got to work to have a home. I got to have a place. It's going to be serious to have a place. I got to have a home. Okay, so that midheaven is up looking for security or looking for authority, for respect from mom or from family, or to get your own home or to accomplish things yourself. But it's ruled by Saturn in the 7th, and it's squared by the Saturn in the 7th. So there's pressure from the relationship and the difficulty. There's going to be difficulty in living up to the home that one wants. At the same time, without the partner and without the working together on it, it might be easier in one way, but it's not so simple. The need to accomplish is there. The motivation to achieve things, but the need to feel secure in where one lives so that we can work from one's home or do something. I mean, if she was an astrologer, she could work from home. If she's a writer, she could work from her home. But she's better off with the moon opposed not to being away from the home and going out around people and friends and building up that world and getting stronger there. Okay, so this is that midheaven, Cancer, the need for respect and accomplishment around Cancer factors: home, security, feelings, mom needs, have my own place, live my own way. But then there's always, with her moon, there's always complications around the moon that rules it. Okay, so really, her chart works really well when she looks forward, not when she looks back. She just does what she has to do, and that's it. But then she's vulnerable to the other side. The setting chart, we talked a bit about this Aries on the descendant already, because the Aries got the Saturn there. It's conjunct to Saturn. It has the caution, the inhibition. So I'm not going to project Libra rising because the Saturn and the Ascendant, I don't have the response I've got. I have the difficult relationship. I can't go there because I'm married, or I have this, I have to take care of this, I have to take care of this. There's a Saturn in the seventh house weighing on the Ascendant. I'm serious. I'm defensive about what I have to respond to. I don't want to be blamed. I'll take care of what I have to do. I'll do all the things. Just don't blame me. That's not bringing in the Neptune. So, but the Aries there is ruled by Mars. So the Mars, there's a tendency to go on impulse, but the Saturn says put the brakes on. If you go on impulse, you get the impulse, but then the difficulties come after. She's taking care of the guy. Or so there's a funny balance between pushing for relationships and having commitments and responsibilities around it, or getting responsibilities tied in with the relationships and who's carrying what. The weight of responsibility lies in the relationship and in the sharing. She tries to see it nicely with the Libra ascendant, but in the reality of who's doing what, that's where you measure out the time with the Saturn on the descendant. Now, that's ruled by Mars. So the Mars is in Scorpio. I have to do this for money. I got to do this. There's a push to make money, and a drive to get it that's going to come from relationship response. What are you doing? Are you paying your half? Who's paying what? Who's doing what? And there's a push or a drive from relationships taking things in that I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to fix this. There's a problem here. I got to fix this. I got to take care of this. I can't let it get worse. But there's a sense it's getting worse, but I have to fight to change this. And then Mars pushes, and then she tries to do everything and is busy all the time, but not necessarily getting, but she anticipates what's needed way more than is necessary. She works harder than she has to, or she worries more than she should. But to get, hey, this is great, what you're doing is great, to get the good feedback. It's hard to get past the defenses to get it. So, okay, we just went, how are we doing for time? Okay, we've got the 10 minutes. So this is the puzzle. This is why when you're looking at a chart, you're not defining someone, you're tuning into these different levels of function, and they start taking different turns. You can see the chart, you can see the moon up, but you can't imagine what it is right away. You know something's confused around the taste and the home and the torturing. Not everything's exactly as it seems. There's some complication to it. So for a kid as a kid, she'd need all the attention of the Leo, Sun, and Jupiter. I need the attention, but she'd feel she's not getting enough, and she have to live up to this or have to live up to this, and it takes away from the attention. So this puzzle that we saw perhaps in a marriage or a relationship, it would be there between her father and mother, and how she was growing up with the confused mother and the oppressive father, who might not have been supporting the mother either. And between that, there was not a lot of room to encourage. She just would naturally grow out and build up her own world, and the Jupiter Sun to travel to go and do that. That's great. But the Saturn Mercury to travel, it takes away from the time of studying and getting the skills built up. She wouldn't have been encouraged to have her hobbies or her skills and to get her education to follow that up. So that limits how much she can accomplish. But against the background of that, when I first met her, she was doing practical business and sales and things like this, but she studied astrology really well and built it up, and she went through my classes over different times. We've been through them all. And it's back in this, and it's here coming through this class again. So there's always, every time you touch it, it's different. Every time you go in, it's different, but the need for something spiritual to value, to believe in, that's the Venus. You think about it's practical. It has to be practical. And she's fussy and picky, so she can see where a cult would just drain all your energy. That's not useful. She could, she has the mechanics of the fine artist, but is inclined to go towards the commercial artist. But not. It's an interesting thing. Her need for beauty and appreciation, that moon, when she has a dedication and she's helping people or helping, she has a very kindness, a need to to make sure other animals aren't starving, other people aren't starving, things. She has a need to help with that, but she's not getting support for doing that. It's enough to take care of our family expenses, but there's a need to be helping other people outside of the family expenses, to have a social conscience, to be helping people. That would build up tremendous confidence. So that whenever she goes to the past, whenever some of the past comes up, it's complicated. As the Neptune involved with it, there's going to be guilt and sorrows and confusions and complications. Whenever she just goes forward into her son with confidence, because this needs to be done, she pulls it off. It's like two different worlds. But very capable person coming out of a complicated situation. Like the lotus growing out of the mud. Most beautiful flower, but has its roots in mud. But it still goes up in vista, is there? So it takes time to grow into this chart, and there's going to be different ways where she's a star, where she does things. But when I look at that, the Mercury is the highest point in the chart, most prominent point, and the sun following it. And then the Jupiter. If she wrote a book or got known for what she knows, or puts the writing out, she won't communicate that clearly because the Saturn opposes the ascendant. Unless she's cautious about it. But to put it in writing, she got the respect for it, got that thing done. That's the business card. That would set it up so it would give her confidence and everything. Everywhere else, not necessarily at home, but it would give her something so she's living now and doesn't have to go back into the past. I think I'm about done. I think what else is here?